we have a busy schedule, so we're gonna get going. I just have one announcement, and I just wanna make sure that everybody knows that when you're running 10 minutes late, what do you guys do? What? Thank you. So then they can tell the homes and they can let everybody know that you're running late. It's a good customer service, right? And it also group homes like to know when people are running late. So we have some new drivers. Our first one is doing the part-time 286 in the morning, and his name is Berhanu. Everybody welcome Berhanu. And then Ashanti is doing, I said it wrong, I'm sorry. Please say your name. Did I say that or no? I know, I'm sorry. And she's doing the afternoons on that route, so welcome. And then we have Rick, who is doing 277. He's full-time. Welcome. And then we have a new mechanic that will be starting on Wednesday. You can't hear me? Okay, I'll just hold on to this.
No, just turn it up.
I'm not going to be here very much longer. So starting Wednesday, we have a new mechanic, and his name is Jack. So when you see some new face in the mechanic area, welcome him. I will also welcome him again next month, but I just wanted everybody to know that we do have a new mechanic. And unfortunately, John is going to be going down to part-time. He wanted to retire, but we wouldn't let him retire. So he's hopefully going to be sticking around and helping us out a couple days a week. So John has just done so many wonderful things for us in this company. So when you see him as well, give him a big thank you too. And I just want to say thank you to the team, to Reene, to all the mechanics, and all you drivers for getting those buses ready for inspections. Every one of them passed. So thank you. Great job, guys. It's so nice that I don't really have to do anything for that part, and I just appreciate all you guys so much for making sure that happens and it runs smoothly. And then, so then we have some May anniversaries. Our first one is Scott Wormus. He's been here a year. Congratulations, Scott. That woke me up. And then we have Alisha. She's been here 3 years. Thank you. She started off as a driver that did all the routes, and now she does 296 full time. So thank you for all you've done for New Tracks. And Melanie Lugo has been here for 6 years. And she can take care of all the HR stuff for us. So thank you, Melanie. Warren. He's been here 8 years. Happy anniversary. And then we have Eric. He's doing the Merrick run, but he's been here for 12 years. So everyone give him a shout out when you see Eric. Thank you. That is all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Melanie, who's been with us for 6 years. She gets to do some fun stuff today. Woo!
All right, again, it's really fun. This is our annual talk about harassment. Yay! Okay, it's just as fun for you as it is for me. But it's really good to talk about because New Tracks, as we know, has a really great culture. And we want this to stay that way. And we want this to be family. We want this to be home for you. We want this to be a positive work environment. So I'm going to chat a little bit today about this. I'm going to be reading a lot because I have excerpts from our handbooks that I want to make sure that we're all aware of. And we're all on the same page that if you do have a problem or an issue, how do you go about reporting that or going through those steps? I want to make sure everyone knows that. So first of all, New Tracks hires people that we believe will support our mission and our core values. As a result, we expect the employees to support and contribute to a respectful and pleasant workplace atmosphere. for all employers, employees, and riders. So then the other question is, well, what are our core values? And just to remind you what some of our core values, or all of our core values are safety, customer service, community asset, efficiency, and innovation. And we're specifically talking about our workplace culture. We talk a lot about safety, which is not just, it's of our riders, of employees, and the community at large. And when we talk about customer service, we want to bring value to everyone we encounter. So whether it's here on our property, or on a bus, or out in the community, we want to bring value to everyone, which if we're bringing value to everyone, we're creating a safe and a really pleasant place to work. So just want to point those core values out to us. So what do we do though if we happen to have a problem, or we have a grievance, like either between drivers, or maybe you have a rider, or maybe even a staff member of a partner organization, you come into a problem, what are some of the steps that we have in our handbook? So we, first of all, believe that all employees should have the opportunity to work in a positive environment to achieve their highest levels of productivity. Therefore, all employees need a professional atmosphere where they are treated in a respectful manner. NewTrax encourages respectful and direct communication with the person or persons involved in the situation. So the first step that we would encourage you to do is to actually seek that person out directly. So if it's a coworker, that you would go to them and say, hey, let's use your example, I noticed that you parked this way at one of the sites and it kind of blocked me from being able to get into the spot where I'm supposed to be in. I just wanted to talk to you about that directly. Is this something that we can address together and figure out what our next steps can be? It could be something as simple as that. It could be something that's been a continual problem that you want to address with someone. It could be a comment that was made. Maybe it's a rider who is saying negative comments to you a lot, and you're going to need to address that either with them or with their person that supports them. So these are the direct, we want you to go to that person directly and have that conversation. If you feel like that is not an option, you don't feel safe doing that, or if you're not getting the results that you would hope for as you're going directly to them, the next step is you can submit in writing to your supervisor or your manager what the problem is. What has happened, when did it happen, where did it happen, what was said, what was done, and making sure you put that in writing and send an email. You can send it directly from your email to your supervisor, or you can use Winter Work. Paylocity does have an option in the community where you can send a message directly to a specific person. So if you can do it any of those ways, but we'll submit it in writing as soon as possible, so that we know about it, so that we're aware, and so that we can help you address that issue. Now, if it's with your supervisor that you have an issue or a problem, or you're not happy with the response or the results from that, then you can also submit something to myself, Human Resources, or the Executive Director, or the Senior Transportation Manager. So if you're not getting the results you wanted, then you can also email one of us, and we'll continue to look into and investigate the situation. So we want to let you know if you have problems with agreement, or even feel harassed in any way, if you do not feel safe in your work environment, we want to know that. So you need to communicate that with us so that we can help you, okay? So, any questions about that so far? Okay, all right. So, this is the section 203 of our handbook called respectful behavior and prohibiting harassment. Just your responsibility is you are accountable for your own actions. You're expected to treat visitors, riders, volunteers, co-workers, subordinates, and supervisors, all persons connected to the workplace, with respect and kindness at all times. And management is responsible for promoting working conditions free of harassment and implementing and enforcing this policy. Management is responsible for taking action when harassment is alleged to have occurred and prevent workplace retaliation. Workplace retaliation, and I'm going to read a little bit more about that in a second, but retaliation is when you report something, whether you're the person that happened to, or you were a witness to someone experiencing this, that no one can make this a difficult place for you to work after that. That is not accepted, that is not tolerated. So you cannot be retaliated against, you cannot be, like your job cannot be at stake, no one should be saying rude comments to you or making your job difficult because you reported something. Okay, that's what retaliation means. So what is harassment? Harassment is unwelcome conduct that is based on race, color, religion, gender, including pregnancy, national origin, age 40 or older, disability, or genetic information. Harassment becomes unlawful where 1, enduring the offensive conduct becomes a condition of continued employment, 2, the conduct is severe or persuasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive. That's what harassment is. And I am going to give some kind of specific examples in a minute. And then to take that further, like another thing that we have to worry about in the workplace is sexual harassment. And this includes unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, sexually motivated physical contact, and other verbal or physical conduct or communication of sexual nature. And that again, if you feel like that has to happen for you to still have a job or to continue on in things, that's not okay. So harassment may take many different forms. So it could be the use of a derogatory comment or nickname about a protected class, negative stereotyping or slurs, using them in jokes or stories, the use of offensive or demeaning terms which have a sexual connotation, objectionable physical closeness, physical contact or repeated flirtations, unwelcome invitations to social engagements or non-work-related social events. So it's not just one area, it can look a lot of different ways. And so what I try to do is find some examples, because sometimes we think we're just being sarcastic or we're just trying to be funny, and the person that you're saying it around or next to or to may not take it that way. And so we just have to remember that. So for example, like talking about age, a comment such as, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks," may be offensive to someone because maybe they're really trying very hard. Maybe it's not just their age, maybe they have a learning disability, maybe there's all these different things. So that's a funny one to be all kind of tossed out there sometimes, but just thinking about that, that would be an age discrimination, or someone might feel harassed if that's continually said to them. So maybe in regards to race and color, using slang expressions about someone's race or color. National origin, using ethnic slurs or telling ethnic jokes is not tolerated, and making comments about a person's ancestry or their country of origin, even if it's different from yours. Just like in the Midwest here is very different from the culture that I am from in Florida. Just with the different like German and Swedish and all of that is very different than the warm environment that I am, where people are more Hispanic, and it's very different. But we need to respect that. We all come from different places, and how we approach life and the world might be different. So, religion, we should be making references or comments about beliefs, religious holidays, or customs. Disability. I know that we do great work in this area, but it's just like those things you don't even think about. For example, talking softly to a hearing impaired person, placing obstacles in the path of a blind person, and putting items out or of reach of someone in a wheelchair, that's harassment. And you might ask yourself, who in the world would do something like that? And I feel like in the work that we do, that seems crazy. So, which I'm thankful for. But this is just like an example that I thought was really interesting that we don't think about. This is like says, let's say a person in a wheelchair has asked you, or they work with you, and they say, hey, the delivery person leaves the boxes in the path that I have to take every day to be able to get to my office. Can you ask them not to put that in the way? Can you ask them to put it in a different place? And they're like, okay, no problem. But then you forgot, and you didn't make that change. And they've had to ask you 3 or 4 times, and there's still no change. Though it's not, you feel like, oh, it's not direct harassment, somebody might actually think that you're trying to make their work life difficult. So it's just like a really interesting example that maybe we can relate to, not that we've done that, but just kind of that thing of like, Are we creating an unpleasant work environment by something we're even not doing? Maybe not just something we are doing, but something we're not doing. So, also to be careful about gender stereotyping, harassment based on perceived differences from typical gender expectations. Like, if someone were to approach me and be like, well, why are you working here? You should be barefoot in the kitchen. Like, that wouldn't really be an appropriate thing to say at work. Or to someone, gender, that's stereotyping. So hopefully this example is helpful, where sometimes it's just in our day-to-day language, or we're trying to joke around. We want to make sure this is a really respectful and safe place to work. And again, this is not something that has happened, that we need to do this. This is an annual review. So each year, we do go have this discussion, we read some of the handbook, we try to mix it up a little bit, examples we do this year. But I understand it's not a fun topic, but we want to continue our culture of having a really safe, pleasant, wonderful place to work here at UTRAX. So we'll all make incremental improvements of that every year. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions about that, or you do have an issue, please come see me. I want to know about it, I want to be able to help, and I know that the state feels the same way, so please come let us know. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Reene. Thank you for your attention.
Hi everybody. How's everybody doing today?
How are you?
Good. Just that.
How are you doing? You got the comfy chair. Okay. You guys are, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record. And I'm going, why do you keep harping on this? I do it because it's important. And the thing I'm talking about is tie-downs. I'm going to talk about tie-downs. I'm going to talk about rolling stops at railroad tracks. I'm going to talk about making sure our clients are sitting and buckled in before we start moving that bus away from the stops. And I know that I've talked about this month after month, but it's important, and it's something, we watch videos on your buses every day. And what's disheartening is that we see these things happen all the time, day after day, no matter how much we talk about it. And, specifically tie-downs. We all know how to put a tie-down, how to tie down a wheelchair, correct? We start from the front, we go around to the back, where you end up is where the seatbelt is, and that completes everything. We double check it, make sure that it's secure, before we continue on with our route, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So many times we see a lot of drivers start from the back. They put those back tie-downs on in the back first, and then go around to the front. And you think, well, what's the big deal? The reason we do it a certain way, first of all, is for safety for the client. So you put those front tie-downs on first, just in case something happens, someone, not backs into you, but plows into you or whatever, or that person starts bucking or whatever, something gets bumped, that wheelchair is not going to tip forward. It's going to tip backwards. That's the heaviest part of the wheelchair. So in order to ensure that it doesn't tip backwards, you start from the front. Okay, you put those front tie-downs on first, and then you make that circle around. And then we make the circle around just to train our brains, right? To make sure that we have all 4 tie-downs on that wheelchair. We've seen a lot of close calls because tie-downs are not getting checked. We want to try to be completely worry-free about that wheelchair being secure. Again, think about if that person in that wheelchair is nonverbal and they're watching you do this, and they know that you didn't put some of those tie-downs on that wheelchair. How scary that would be. sitting in that wheelchair knowing that as soon as you go around the corner, you're gonna flip over or gonna fall over. So scary. So put their mind at ease too. Again, we're talking to our clients, right? As we're working with them and tying their wheelchairs down, make them a part of it. Make it a part of the routine. Double check those tie downs. We've had some tie downs that we found that are not retracting correctly. And that's something that you guys are doing. It's not your fault that they're not working correctly, but if you double check them and make sure that they are working correctly, then that defeats that whole thing, right? Then we know that they're working correctly and that we can depend on them. We did just have an inspection and they did check all of the tie downs, so we didn't have any that were faulty. And thank you all again for putting your seats up and making the buses clean and easy for them to access all of those things so that they could check it out for us. Appreciate it. The second thing I want to talk about is rolling stops. And we talked about this last month, right? You need to stop at railroad tracks, okay? And I'm not just talking about come up to a railroad track, let's slow down a little bit, all right, I can keep going. No, you need to come to a complete stop, which means you come up to the railroad track and you stop. The bus actually comes back a little bit. And then you look and then you go, okay? It's a lot of money if you get caught going through those railroad tracks. And it depends also if there's people on your bus. The police will take that into consideration also, and that fine goes up. Depending on how many people you have on your bus. That's something that you guys have to pay. New Tracks doesn't cover that for you. That's on you guys. Plus, stopping, you're stopping behind that white line. If you're stopping and you're in front of your buses halfway onto the tracks, what good does that do? What if your bus stalled out? It could happen. What if you go over those railroad tracks and your back end is still on the railroad tracks? You gotta be careful and recognize that a train can just break through you guys. There won't be a lot left of your bus or you. Yes?
Like the school buses, they come up to the tracks, they open up their side door.
Yep.
Where
We don't require you. The question is, with school buses, they open up their door, and everything. We don't require you guys to do that. You can if you want, as an extra precaution. Absolutely do it. Hang on, I get to Stephanie. But we don't require you to. All we want you to do is to stop behind that white line completely. Look both ways. Take your time. It's not a race to get your people to where they need to go. And take your time, look both ways, and then go. Stephanie, do you have a question?
Well, I did one time I stopped at a track, I looked over and there was a train coming. So you can't go, hey, I mean, why are we stopping? So I'm thinking, I can't go. So I just waited, let the traffic behind me. It was a little bit sound, but it's like, that must be why we're stopping, because if we see a train, then we can't go.
Absolutely. If you see a train coming down, I would not.
And it was way far away, the arm wasn't down or anything, but I'm thinking, there's gotta be a reason why we started looking, that's great.
And there it is, right?
Yeah.
Most trains will blow their whistle when they're close by and coming in. Yeah, they might be going slow. And if people are behind you, honking their horns, they can always go around you. They might be pissed off, but hey, we want to be on the side of safety and caution. And so please, and the same thing with coming to don't roll through those stop signs. Don't roll through those red light, turn on red lights. that's still a stop. You still need to come to a complete stop before you go through those signs, okay? I know we get used to it in our own cars, and I don't care what you guys do in your own car, that's you. But when you're in a new tracks bus, please think about your clients and think about safety. Safety's gotta be number one, okay?
Hey, Reene,
Yeah.
so if the train is way down there and the lines are down and they can clear it, maybe it might, can they go over?
Yeah, if the question was if the train's going slow enough, it's way down there, can you go over? If you can go over the track safely and feel like you can do that safely, you have plenty of time, go ahead. Right, Steph?
You're right.
Okay.
So I could have gone.
You could have gone if it was going slow enough, and then sometimes they look like they're just creeping along, right?
Yeah. But another thing too is,
You know,
there's bushes, I think there's a train of house, right?
So then what I would do is I would stop at that white line, if you can't see, creep up a little bit. Try not to try not to put your bus over the tracks though, if you can. Okay? Thomas?
Or maybe.
I look at it as,
Yeah, well, yeah, we could call, if they're really a deterrent from you seeing the tracks, we can call the city too and maybe have them trim those bushes back. Cause that is a safety hazard. Hang on a minute.
how I do is if I come up and I see a train down there, thinking, yeah, I can do it, but I'm already stopped. I think, okay, I'll give a gas and go, what if I stall out right on the track? So that's why I just wait.
Okay.
I don't wanna put the bus in any jeopardy of my people or myself. I'll wait, and then the gates will come down, and
Alright.
that's what I do.
I think Stephanie's question is particularly where there are gates, and the gates are still up.
But you see it coming, I don't wanna, I'm stopped. I don't wanna give gas and go, because what if I stall out? I'm just thinking.
No, and that's a legitimate question, but I think it's my understanding that the purpose of the gates are exactly when you're supposed to stop. And if you're not going to and the gates are up, that has other impacts on traffic as well. So I think that's a different situation when there's gates and the gates are still up than if you're at a crossing where there's no gates and you see someone, you make sure you give it that due caution, because that is the purpose of the gates.
Yeah. The gates, if there's no gates, and you have to use your good judgment, which I know you guys all have good judgment. Don't you? Did you have something, Brian?
You have to stop even if you don't have clients on it.
Yes, you do need to stop even though you have no clients on your bus. Still gotta stop. It says it on the back of the bus. And if we have people that we've had an instance where they followed our bus and took a picture of the back of the bus and said, your bus did not stop at this last railroad track. I'm gonna report them to the police. So there are people out there that watch and they just are thinking of safety. They know the clients that we serve. Yes, Diane?
And this may sound dumb to a lot of people, but I always used to stop at non-exempt tracks too.
Exempt me? I hope you stop at non-exempt tracks. If there's a sign that says exempt, you don't need to stop. If you want to be cautious, love it. Love it. Yeah.
Go to the light rails.
Like in St. Paul, it's got an exempt. Or Minneapolis, they don't.
Yes, okay. The question was about the light rail, okay? You don't have to stop.
Minneapolis.
What's that?
Minneapolis.
You have to live in Minneapolis and say?
Yeah,
Light rail?
no, we don't have to stop in Minneapolis.
Correct. Or St. Paul. You don't have to stop for light rail. You do have to make sure you obey, they have specific lights
Right.
that control that traffic situation, okay? Any other questions about railroad tracks, stop signs, coming to a full stop?
I know new truck made me a better driver. I drive my car and then I stop at the red light, at the traffic.
Good job, Terry.
Yeah, I think we've all done that.
And our kids go, what are you doing? All right, the last thing I want to talk about is waiting for clients to sit down and get buckled before you move the bus. We see it time and time again on the videos. Please, please, don't move the bus until you know that that client is in their seat and buckled, okay? I know they want to be independent, and I know that they just think, oh, I don't need any help. But you need to make sure that it's buckled before you move. They can fall as you're taking off. They're falling into their seats. We don't want to see that, okay? So I go over this stuff every month, and I just want to know if there's a disconnect of how I'm explaining this. Am I explaining this okay to you guys?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you take these new drivers out literally and show them specifically what to do?
I do. Yes, it's part of the training.
I just want to point out, it's not just new drivers that we see these things.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just.
It's only the new ones.
Well, actually.
Situational perspectives with the tie downs. I have one house I go to, I pull in and the bus sits like this. The client's brakes don't work very well.
Okay.
So he slides forward. I have to put his tie downs on the back first. Otherwise
Okay.
he slides forward.
Okay.
It's an exception. I mean, that's
an
I know
exception.
it's-
That's, okay.
Do you
I
make
get
that
that, but when I see it happening at every single house, that you get into that habit of putting those bad ones on first, and that's what I don't want to happen.
This is Berhanu.
Okay. Hang on, guys. Bruce. Paul. George.
Aren't you supposed to write that up as the brakes need to work
Yeah,
for the wheelchair?
yeah.
His brakes,
Yeah.
I think they stop generally, but when he's sitting at an angle, they don't.
It's hard. If it's a big enough incline, sometimes
Gotcha.
it's,
Okay.
depends on how big the person is too.
Okay.
Kelly?
So when you see these things on the video,
Mm-hmm.
you talk to with the driver?
We do.
Okay.
We do. And we're probably gonna, yeah. We haven't had to talk to you yet, Kelly.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so promise to get my office tomorrow. Yes, Ann?
You know, they were talking about making sure you put the slip in to get the wheelchair fixed. Some of them, even when they work appropriately, if you're on the incline and the person's heavy enough.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, yeah.
They don't, I mean, you have to follow this.
Yes, and that's it's not an everyday thing. I just don't want you to get in the habit of doing that with every single one, okay? Please let me know if you guys have any questions on this or feel like you want more clarification on it. I'm here, that's what I'm here for, okay? The last thing that I wanted to say, I want to leave it on a good note. I want to be like raining on you guys all the time. But I want to thank y'all for helping me with inspections. We get comments from our inspectors all the time that say how impressed we are and with our buses, how clean they are, how well maintained they are, and how disciplined we are about really keeping up with our buses and making sure that they're safe and sound. And they said, we don't ever have to worry about you guys. We know that you guys take care of it. And that's partly because of you guys. And I do appreciate it so much. Lisa In honor of that, I think you brought in a cake for us, did you? Yeah. So there's going to be cake in honor of the great inspection. Let's keep it up, and just not even for inspections. Please be diligent about taking care of your tie downs and taking care of your buses and making sure that they're safe and ready to go. Okay, thank you guys. Sit down. I know it smells good in here. You just have one more thing. Kevin would like to say a few words.
I have one announcement. I had to write it down, so that's how my memory works. But I don't think I'm as good as the gals here, but at speaking. But I just want to share about the sub buses and the sub drivers. To please, when you're done with the buses, to please put the locks back, put the seats down, fill it with gas. I see that happen a lot, and it's pretty frustrating for the and the seatbelt. But I noticed some locks that are under the seats and the locks to the belts are still on. And I've seen locks put into the jump seat on the new buses.
What are you talking about? Water?
I mean, the locks. So yeah, so just please put them back if you should. It's just so frustrating. And with the route buses too, the same thing. Just leave the bus the way you found it, and it would help us out a lot. So just appreciate that. And also I just want to say thanks to all the drivers for all you guys do. I know it's a lot of work out there with waiting for clients, traffic, all that stuff, and doing the check calls and all the parking clears really help us out a lot. And checking in too between your routes helps out a lot. So we appreciate that. And one other thing I want to say just about driving as a sub driver now, what it means to me to do what we do, and what we do, what would make a difference to these clients that we transport every day. And you know, getting to know some of your clients too as a sub driver, it's kind of exciting. And I like to kind of, you know, chat with some of the clients, get to know them a little bit. I like to do that with just to make them feel comfortable as a sub driver, because when the regular drivers out there, they get very nervous. Or I like to introduce myself, tell them who I am. So I just appreciate what you guys do. I enjoy all the clients and what we get to experience. It's a big responsibility, and I tell you, it just means a lot to me in transporting these clients. And I look back and I'm driving and I think about what these clients go through every day, and we get to transport. They trust us to get them from A to B, and I think that's a great responsibility. It means the world to me to do that. I'm sure it does to you guys too. So it's just a great experience, I think, for me and what I've learned with driving. So thanks everybody, I appreciate it.
Is there anyone on the line up or ready to go?